Come and get started on a new mission, a new direction, a new intention. Welcome to 5.8G Alive at Connections 50 Plus. I am Terry-Ann Joseph Brathwaite.
And I am Jennifer Gibbons Joseph, catering to all your prospects in the third act of life.
Economic well-being, social gratification, personal fulfillment.
Join us on Wednesday at 6 p.m. on Connections 50 Plus Facebook page, YouTube channel,
and on Gael the Caribbean.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to 5.8G Alive, brought to you by Connections 50 Plus. I am Terry-Ann Joseph Brathwaite, one of the co-creators of Connections 50 Plus, and with me, as usual, my friend.
Hi, everyone. Good evening and welcome. I'm Jennifer Gibbons Joseph, the other co-creator of Connections 50 Plus.
Great. Well. Listen, we had such good feedback on our show last week on advocacy, and it shows that people really, Jennifer, are thinking about, where they are in life, where they are placed, and, what does that position mean to them? I was very, very pleased that so many different people thought that the topic of advocacy was an important one. What do you think?
I agree. I mean, we both got the feedback. And definitely, when we thought of the topic, I was thinking, I wonder if they're going to be interested in that because it's sounding like maybe they don't know, what to do or they can't make decisions. But it definitely wasn't taken like that. And yes, the feedback was they had to think about, how they make the decisions and whether it is in certain situations they may need, persons to advocate on their behalf. So yes, I really am happy with the feedback we got. And our cohort need to, consider seriously and know when we need that help.
Yeah. The thing is, I thought about it, and I mean, this is August. We said we start with emancipation, and then we end up with independence, and we are certainly on our way to independence. I mean, weekend after this one, Trinidad and Tobago will be celebrating its independence. We know that the Jamaicans did the start of the month, Trinidad is at the end, and then Barbados comes in, I think in November. The famous Federation breakup, and then we went and got independent.
Yes.
But, so the whole discussion on advocacy for self, as we thought about independence, and, we are preparing for our independence celebration this weekend, but we'll talk about that later. You really think that, yes, you advocate for yourself, but each of us as an individual, we are part of another collective, which is our nation. And that nation is an independent state. And okay, what is a country? A block of rock in the middle of an ocean or something like that. And when we think about an independent nation, independence, what that means to you, I feel that there is an extension to advocacy because yes, you advocate for yourself as an individual, but to what end? I think it is to the end that you live in a better state, your family's in a better state, your community is in a better state, and the circles go out, and so the nation is better. So as we prepared for independence, I was thinking, we talked about how do we discuss independence, that this is a good extension that we talk about what does this independence mean to us? How does it affect our lives? And I started by looking at the first symbol of our independence, our
Yeah.
national flag. At least we dealing with the Trinis here, all right? We don't want to get into a young brother confusion with the rest of the Caribbean, so we're not taking them on. But and Jennifer, I like our flag. I love its simplicity. I love
Mm.
its clean lines, its dimensions, and I think that the designers of our flag, when they conceptualized it, it's clear. It says it uses the red, the white, and the black. Um, and we refer to ourselves Trinbago, TTO, the red, the white, the black. It brings so much into us as a starting point for discussing who we are as Trinidadians and Tobagonians, people who stand on their own and are responsible for their destinies. What does the flag say to you or mean to you?
When, for me, the flag, first of all, I recall clearly when Trinidad and Tobago got the independence in 1962. I clearly remember, we learning the national anthem, we know about the flag. It was really a historic moment. And it remained with me. I love the flag, as you said. I love the colors, the red, white, and black. And actually, Terrian. So it meant to me to be, you say, you are national now of Trinidad and Tobago. You said it with pride, when we sang the anthem was with pride, and when you see that flag being raised, it meant a lot to us, to the citizens. For me, I was thinking, Tarian, when we decided let's discuss, about being independent and being Trinidadians, Trinbagonians, as we see, what it really means to us. But for the flag, I was thinking, actually, I would have loved to have a flag behind me. And that is when I realized that, wait, no, I don't have a flag in the house. I just couldn't believe it. It never really occurred to me that I should have a flag in the forefront saying, yes, this means a lot to me. So now I have decided and to have a flag, Trinidad and Tobago flag, very visible. I believe it would help me. It would more build that, give me that patriotic kind of spirit. Yes, I'm a Trinbagonian. It means a lot to me. I can offer a lot to build a nation, so it is a very positive, for me, the flag means a lot to me in a very positive way.
Yeah, yeah. And sometimes things that are around us all the time, we take for granted and
Yeah.
we tend to forget what a momentous deal it was for the entire Caribbean at that time. I mean, you were cutting ties with colonialism, which had gone on for, oh gosh, since the 1400s when we were discovered down to the 1900s. It's over 500 years. And these little rocks were sitting down and saying, I can defend myself. I want my own regiment and my own army.
Yes.
I could take care of my people. I want my own hospital and my own school. And you have your history is nothing but the colonials. And when you look at what the designers of the flag, and I'm using that symbol of independence, um, wanted to give, it still today brings a lot. It can teach us so much, or it can cause us to pause and reflect as to who we truly are. Because, all right, we are the red, white, and the black. The red is the color they say that most expresses our country, representing the vitality of the land and the people, the warmth and energy of our, well, the sun and the courage and friendliness of people. Now, if a Trini is anything, they're vibrant, they're full of
Yes.
vitality, they have energy, they open, they into hospitality. I mean, we say it's liming, we say it's partying. So, the designer of the flag, when they said red will be the dominant culture, they really did look at the people and figured what color best matches us.
Yes.
You know, it really is, the vitality of the land and the people, the warmth and energy. Um, Trinidadians, when people define them, they defined as a vibe, as energy, the
Energy.
spirit, the even the way we talk, the way the rhythm, we're very rhythmic, and it comes out in everything. So I think the people who designed the flag, looking at red coming out, they really, really would have been, they know us, even without them.
And as you mentioned too, when they including the white, and we are surrounded by water, you know, and that again was very significant when they um, when they introducing white to the flag. So you say red, of course, vibrancy. You say the white, you have sea, you have, as to say, the purity. And, because we were, for us, independence meant, you know, aspiration. They said together we aspire, together we achieve. So that color white, if you say colorless, so we refer to white, yes, is a color, but it is a color that you felt very a peaceful one, may put you at peace. And and that reflect the water.
Yeah,
So we have the red, the white, and of course the
yeah.
black.
And I think another aspect of the whites, which is, yes, it represents the seas. We all came here by sea.
Yeah.
We all, even the Caribs and the Arawaks who were here first, would have crossed over from Venezuela. Everybody came by sea. And it's great that you have the two lines of white represented. You're totally surrounded by the sea. And
Yeah.
I think there's a lot that we can, if we think about it, we all arrived here and to make this melting pot. And as you say, the black, whereas the red talks about the vitality of the land and the people, the black
Mm-hmm.
represents the dedication of the people joined together in a strong bond. That strong stripe going down the middle. They say it is the color of strength, of unity, of purpose, and the wealth of the land. We are energy-based company, but it is a solid color, so that even though we have our vitality and our rhythm and stuff like that, we are very solid, purposeful driven people, and that black is a serious color. It is a serious color.
We look around Tarian and we are proud Trinbagonians. We have so much to offer. And I am thinking too, in terms of when we became independent and we say, listen, as a people, we have to come together and build a nation. So it's about nation building. And, I started to reflect and say, well, what have we been doing? What have I been doing to really help towards building the nation? Or what am I seeing around me? How are people, other people, the communities, how are they getting together to build a nation? And well, over the years, I'm one that I have seen a lot of contribution from people from communities in terms of nation building in so many different ways. And I would say in terms of I look at us being very proud when we go out, we do acknowledge in that way. We acknowledge when we go to any of the functions from the time the national anthem is played. At the start, we all make sure we stand, pay respect, stand at attention, etc. And that shows a lot of respect for who we are. We also I also, thought of so many other ways that sometimes we may not even realize that what we are doing is part of the nation building. And for instance, within the communities that you have different types of programs that many of us may volunteer in ways to help really use our skills and our talents to help others, become better people, become, contribute in different ways. We have that. We do, sometimes, and I'm smiling here, sometimes you may hear that when some situation happen, you may hear talk that we may be a lawless society. But when you really think deeply, I don't think so. Um, yes, say again, they will say we have to be careful how we drive on the roads. But we do follow by, I would say, generally that we do abide by the rules. We not I don't see us as being that lawless. So there are many other ways where we can continue to contribute to nation building, um, by the awareness of what is happening and what is needed. So, and I'm talking about simple everyday things. We know when there is a situation of maybe during the dry season, and they talk about, conserve water, that we think of others in certain parts of the country that may not have water, and if we conserve, it would help them. As I say, simple everyday things, but we are each other's keeper. So there are ways we could maybe be a little more conscious of how we can go the extra mile in helping others live a better quality life, you know? So under the social responsibility, there are other aspects, but I just wanted to touch on those I mentioned there.
Yeah. I think, if I may, when I think of who am I as a Trini and what is a Trini, and by Trini I mean Trinbagonian, Trinidadian and a Tobagonian, because that is our nation. I think we are a very positive people. I think as all over the world, I think people it's easy to point out flaws and things like that. But when we look at our everyday lives and we walk around and we go through our streets and cities, I really do believe, and I would like somebody to show me evidence that there isn't a very high level of civic mindedness and community spirit in the country. amongst our people, you know. And the reason that I say that, it's because generally, and I think more than generally, to a large degree, our we have very well-defined communities. Communities will have, each community has its errant person, and when you check in the numbers, they're the minority. So I would prefer not even to, I don't believe that we're lawless. And I think sometimes people who describe us as lawless are choosing to just look at some people, but not the general mass. But when we think of any community, you know, you don't think of town names. You think of, you from South, you from Digo, you from Central, you from the East, you from Manzat, you from Arima, you from, and when you know, you almost have characteristics that you can apply to people from certain areas,
Yes.
you know. So that tells me that, I know you said you from Tobago or you from Togo. That means that those communities are so bonded together. They operate in some ways that are similar. So you could really define a group. And if you go somewhere and you say, you from South? I from South too. Are you from Digo? I from Digo. And you start to ask questions, where you went to school, what street you live on, you know? So we are by nature very, very community minded and very civic minded. And I think that ties into that spirit that is us, you know, that, as you say, comes through in music, movement, food, all the different things. So I think we are very community minded and civic minded people.
Yeah, Terry, and they have a lot of and this was before, I remember from even school days, they had a lot of know your country tours. And when you go to the different areas, and as you say, you know, they ask you, and where are you from? And you share all these stories from whatever village or whatever whichever part of the country you go to, and everybody really come together. It's very friendly, a lot of laughter, and you learn a lot about, I'll say, that particular culture and the norms within that village. And I'm using the word village, or whether it's east, west, north, or south, depending on where you come from and where you go to. You know, you get a nice, warm, friendly embrace. You know, everybody embracing you really, really nicely. So yeah,
Definitely.
there's a good community spirit.
Yeah. I think I think that is one of the things that I am most proud about of me as a Trini and us as Trinidadians, that, you know, when we get together, it's a natural, you get together with a hug. You know, you don't get together with a, oh, hello, how are you? You know, we go to each other and we hug each other. And I think that is part of our Trinidadianness. And I think that is why whenever anything happens, whether there's a crisis, whether there's celebration, Christmas, whether there's emergency, people naturally come together. And we don't have people being abandoned or communities being abandoned during time of need. And I think that is evidence to me of a citizenry that is conscious of who they are and their responsibility to be, as you said, your brother's keeper. And I think we do that in a really nice way. You know?
Agree. And we have that respect, huh? We definitely have that respect in how we greet each other. You know, and you mentioned we tend to hug, kiss with a smile, with a compliment. You know, we are, as Trinidad and Tobago, both of us left Trinidad. if you go to Tobago at all, you're greeted, you get that same warm greeting, and they say, oh, you come over from Trinidad, or if you're from Tobago and you come down and say, oh, you're in Tobago. And, on that boat ride or on the plane, is everybody friendly, telling you where you're going to stay or who you're going to visit, and they could share stories, so that friendliness and that warmth is always welcome. And yes, I think that says who we are as a
Yeah.
people.
You mentioned something earlier when you were talking about the things, and you talked about respect for the national anthem and things like that. And again, I want to debunk the narrative that some people just love to bad talk. I don't buy into that at all. Last week, you remember, was World Seal Band Day. And there was the no, I didn't take any videos. I was listening to the pan and I was totally I took no videos. Jennifer needed to be there to tap me on the wrist. But it was noteworthy. I parked about 1 block away from Woodford Square. And while I was parking my car, it was near to the National Library, and there were lots of young people outside the library and stuff like that. I noticed that everyone was standing up. And I was like, you're parking and you look and see why they're not moving like they normally move. And as I was getting closer to the area, there were clusters of, because you had about 10 pan sides there. So you're seeing young people in their pan jerseys and stuff, and all of them standing up looking. And I am hustling because I want to go and meet my friend and stuff like that. And when I am about to cross the street to enter into Woodford Square, like my ears catch up with my brain, or my brain catch up with my ears, Jennifer, the national anthem was playing.
Yeah.
From 1 block away, people were hearing, and I am not, these are not police officers or normal people. Everybody was standing and some was singing, and I had to catch myself and stop because I was the fool walking.
I wonder what's wrong with her.
And I thought that was because the evening's event was just starting, and you had one of the panelists playing it. And I think because I wasn't hearing the words of the anthem, I was hearing like, all right, pan music. I feel shame, but I also felt proud because everybody, and they weren't in the square, they were outside up to 1 block away. And again, it's easy to talk about, oh, people are this and people are that, and the young people this and the young people that, and Chilis are this. And I think that is, people do that when they just have nothing better to say. But if we look at the evidence, we love our country, we do. and I thought that was just so cool and felt so good to. And I just stood up. I think one of the groups of young people just watched me like they must have been preparing to tell me something. Like, Tanti, you're not hearing the anthem.
Yeah, and we have to continue building up and not bringing, not putting down. And as you said, there are the people, they like to focus on the negative. And they say news sell based on more the negatives than the positives. But as a people, and really, to say we're celebrating independence, what can we continue to do? Enjoy our culture. We have such a rich culture, and you talk about the pan, and we're so proud of the pan, and the pan is overseas. Oh, they are doing so much now as they travel to all different parts of the world. I saw Joshua Rugrello is in Ghana this week.
Yes, in Ghana. Yes.
Yeah,
That's part of Carifesta.
I felt so proud, seeing him among the beating the pan. And you see when they had National Pan Day, and you saw where the steel bands in New York in Times Square. It's something for us to be so proud of. So that's our culture, just with the pan, our music. I mean, different aspects of the music. Although ask for our Calypsonians, out there spreading the music. Everybody now in the different, I've seen recently, which one of the artists, they were in Belgium.
Michael
And I said,
Tesha. Michael
wow,
Tesha. Mm-hmm.
Belgium. And the reaction of the crowd, and I said, wow, boy, are they foreigners? It's just fantastic. So I feel that sense of pride, and I'm sure most of us Trinbagonians feel the same way when we see how the culture is being embraced overseas, and how our artists are being, everybody, they just signing autographs. Like, I say, wow, boy. So this is great. So as I said, we have the different mini music. We have music, we have the dance, we have all the different aspects of our culture. Of course, let's talk about the food. Oh, wow. And because, that diversity in our country lends, I mean, Terrian, in so many different ways. When people talk about, you see the foreigners, especially those who come to, they move around with the food to test and to talk about the different foods in the different countries. And when they have to speak, or they do their video clips on the Trinidad, the different types of food in Trinidad, they always remark about the diversity, you know, talk the pilau and the doubles and all the different aspects, and they go in from whether it's the Chinese, whether it's the Indian, whether it's the Creole, whether it's all the mix, the Spanish mix, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we have so much, and I think I know we have so much to be proud of.
Yeah. And I think the thing that's really, and unfortunately, as Radha said, how we vote is not how we party, and it is something about us that we need to confront squarely. Our multiculturalism is our richness. It is absolutely because when you listen to our music, it is such a fusion of Afro, Indo, Chino, Syrian, Lebanese, everybody, Karims and Arawaks. There is, and then when you look at us, if you look at us, yes, you might be predominantly Afro, Indo, Caucasian, or Chinese, or whatever it is, but when you look deeply at us, there are very few of us with the same strain, with a single gene. And how that how we as a people easily and seamlessly go into this person culture and that person culture and come out. We will have a plate with chow mein, curry, um, a baked saltfish, and kibi, and say, what a meal. And not realize it's the United Nations on your plate.
Yeah,
And most people in the world will say that is exotic, but that is us. It's normal, normal, normal. you know, eat curry and chow mein. Eat
yeah,
something like that. And I think that adds a dimension to us that I think lifts and brings you joy, because you go to places and you go to a place, the whole place white, the whole place black, the whole place Indian in Trinidad.
yeah. And you know what brings it out, of course, the most is Carnival. During Carnival time, everybody is party the same way. We have a great time. We love our music and dancing, and you're raising your hand in the air and you're whining and you're just having a great time. And although again, we hear the part, oh, Trini only like to party. And but taking that time out to just enjoy yourself with the music, to mix and everybody mix and mingle and just have a great time. I believe, Terry, and that has made such a difference in terms of, bringing our people together, appreciating each other, showing the world that we could all come together and just have so much fun. And I believe too that's why we have so many every year tourists coming in and those of the locals who are outside. They look forward to coming back. I mean, for Christmas too, but I'm dealing with Carnival right now. To come back and just free up and enjoy themselves. And they tell you that little break that they take when they come down, they feel so refreshed. Many of them don't even want to go back, but they feel so refreshed when they go back to deal with whatever situation they have to deal with and go back to work in a stressful situation. You know, so I really, I mean, I am very, very, again, very proud of that we can really come together and have such fun.
Yeah. You can look at Carnival and there is a time that is Carnival, which is in February, the 2 days before Ash Wednesday, and you could say the
Yeah.
month before, the 2 months before is the core, the nucleus of the Carnival spirit and season. But Jennifer, I think we have gone way past Carnival as a party time, and it is now a part of how we operate, and it fuses into our hospitality, our sense of hospitality, even when we do business, how we entertain people, how we when people come into our environment and you're welcome with those rhythms and those strains. And I mean, you'll have big business conferences and stuff like that, but you must see a Moko Jambi. You must see a Sagaboy and a Tantan. You hear some kind of rhythm going in the background to make the thing go easier. And when everybody tense and stuff, all right, in the afternoon, we go somewhere and listen to some music and go back to the. But but on the other hand, you could say it is sad, but it is a significant industry. It is a significant industry, and as we spoke a couple days before, a couple of shows ago, so many of our young creatives, and we are creative people because we have a carnival spirit that, thank God, is going throughout the year now. It's not a seasonal thing anymore, and it's being officially recognized. Because it is going throughout the year, it not only gives economic opportunity to a lot of our creatives, and I mean the breadth of creatives. So we could talk about clothes, we could talk about fashion, we could talk about photography, visual arts, performing arts, all those things. And it allows for people, we don't think about the exports, but when our creatives, and I talk about all of them across all genres, all groups, go abroad and they perform, they are building our tourism product. They're not only bringing foreign exchange to us, but they're causing people to be interested. So it is a critical industry. It's more than an industry. It's an ecosystem that includes to make you present yourself. Oh, Jennifer, somebody have to have a designer, a makeup person, a hair person, a skin person, a shoe person, a driver. Some need a bodyguard, so you need a trainer, and these people will be with you all year round. And that has come out of carnival, which people say is frivolous, but it is not at all, and it is ours.
Yeah, and we also have to look at where we really bring our people together a lot, and that's in sports also. The cricket and the football and the track, that we come together and give that support and encourage, that encourage others to say, yes, you can do it. And it builds that what I would say, in addition to coming together, that unity. We talk about national pride. It definitely does that for us.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know how many. I remember when we qualified for the World Cup. Was it in 86? It might have been 86. I can't remember the year. And Jack Warner made a statement that we were we were at that time, and I think we still may be, the smallest population in the world to have qualified at sports at that level. And it is the same for nearly all sports. We have had champions coming out of us we have our Dwight York in football, who was Footballer of the Year when he was with Manchester United. I can't remember the year. We have Brian Lara that holds 3 world cricket records. Recently, South African was coming close to his record, and the batsman stopped. He said, "No, I am not taking his record." He declared the 375 not out in Test cricket. So you'll say, where he from? Trinidad and Tobago. Where is that? We have track and field athletes from Hazley Crawford, 100, 200, 400, and the relays. We have medalists that are across in even field.
Swimming, we have cycling. It's a lot.
Yeah. And to think this one little place with 1.4 million people can produce the Nicholas Paul as a cyclist. I know his grandfather, well, he'd not forgive me for not mentioning his name. When you think about it, out of this country, if you line up all of our sports achievers across the breadth of, whether it's individual sports, team sports, peers, or whatever it is, whether it is national, regional, or international, that we produce all of those stars, it just tells you what a huge pool is left waiting to come forward. And again, it go back to the red, the vitality, the white. We all came here, and the black, we are solid and we are strong. How could people say Trinidad is not a real place? The person who said that has to be crack.
Every yeah, that saying Trinidad is not a real place, I say exactly what they're referring to.
Well, that's what social media has done. It is what social media has done. But I feel I have never ever, and sometimes you say, "How do you feel, you're Trinidadian? How do you feel about it?" I have never had an issue with being Trinidadian. I always, whenever I think about it, I feel elated. I feel happy. I feel vibrant. I think I am part of a community that is dynamic, always changing. We're not afraid to go and mix up. We're not afraid to get in your face and tell you something. but it don't come to blows. We will express ourselves and we'll come back and then it blends in and it goes. And I think even in our history, when you think of the two disruptive periods, 70 and 90, even after those things, you have a reckoning and a reawakening, and the entire society adjusts. Not saying that there's a little utopia and everybody is perfect, but you continue thinking, notwithstanding the differences, the whole has to remain intact. And I think that is our intent. And that to me is a great thing about us being Trinidadian.
Yeah, we are very resilient. We are, we really come together, sit together, we aspire together, we achieve. As you mentioned, all the different achievements, there's so many. We have
I'm
the
sure we've left out a lot.
tough ones.
We haven't talked about our artists. We haven't talked about our visual artists.
For trial, we have so many,
Artists and authors.
Well, I mean, yeah, we have the most famous artists. Yes, Terry. So we want, I mean, I think there should be there is we can really research anybody in terms of or to find all those who contributed, to building our nation in terms of the different and those who were given all the over the years they were awarded. Remember, we had all the every independence they used to give all the awards.
Isn't it a republic now? Every republic national awards, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, awards. So yeah, so we would have left out a lot, but let's say we are so very proud. We are proud Trinbagonians with all the different achievements. Terry, and also when you look at, I was reading recently in terms of the pitch league, and you realize, you say, wow, boy, we are, well known right through the world. They have all the information in terms of the pitch lake of Trinidad. How it started, how you can, we bring tourists to the island. These what they were referring to. I think they had the most famous and came in to they brought in a group to go to the pitch lake on that. So they had a documentary on that. So we have so many different historic sites that we could be very proud of, of course, and we have Tobago, well known for all the beaches, and recently they had a diving competition. Things sometimes that you won't even think of that is happening, and people really appreciate all the different sites and the things they can do when they come to our islands.
Yeah. I want to recommend one thing to us, our cohorts. And this is not an activity for you or for your grandchildren or your children. It's an activity for you. Leave the grandchildren out of it and leave your children out of it. Go and visit the National Museum. There is a very, very significant display. It's actually a mural. It's like a walk of all of the pioneers who've really made an impact in Trinidad through the years. And you'd be surprised at the names of the people across all fields, whether it's education, culture, dance, music, arts, teacher, whatever it is. But, doing things like that, sometimes, Jennifer, we have to get up and go and remind ourselves. Because I think sometimes it is so easy. It's not sometimes, it's all the time, and it happens to all of us. It is so easy to sit and let the media give the story of what is happening. And the media gives a tiny snapshot of what the media wants to share. And very often it deals with the now and it doesn't deal with the history of how we came to now. And I think sometimes we need to get up and go and look. And I know that I visited that exhibit twice, and it always strikes me. It always strikes me in terms of the people who have built and contributed so much, and even the quiet ones, and that we have that preserved there for us to remember. All the school children will go as part of the outings and so on. And we don't get to go. So that's why I say we need to get up and go and visit the National Museum. And I was looking at something there. There's also a very, very interesting carnival museum on Charlotte Street where the Penny Bank was. You know, it would remind us that our cohort, we are the independent story. We made it. We're not looking on at somebody else's story. It's we who make it. We are 63 years old. Hello. We is our work they're talking about. So
I say there wasn't growth from then to now.
no, there was growth, but sometimes it's not the absolute growth, but you forget the little details and the little stories that really are the building blocks on which the growth stands and the nation stands. So we are a big part of that story. So when we talk about independence and celebrating independence, it's us we celebrate. The nation is us. So I just wanted to point that out as you talked about that. I remember again that display. It's really, really well thought out, and again it comes back again to the talent of the people who put their ideas and thoughts together and research to come up and present this to us. And we shouldn't let it remain in museums. We need to visit and celebrate, because I think all that is part of, we talked about being a good citizen.
Yeah.
Yeah, all that is part. I think we have a responsibility to actively seek out information about our country, the positive and the stories that make us who we are, good or bad. It doesn't have to be just the positive, because we've overcome the bad and we build on the good. So we don't ignore one for the other. But I think when we put all that together, independence becomes something that's real and needs to be celebrated all over, and not just a day where they brought down a flag and they put up a flag.
Yeah. Tarian, I recall when we had our river line that there were so many in our cohort who said they hadn't been by a river. They didn't know anything about the river, going by a river. And that surprised me.
So you
But
live
there's so
by a
many
river.
take things for granted, and we may think, oh, we know enough, or we really know the country. But there are so many, sites, as you see, like the museum, but there's so many other sites that we don't know about. And I really believe if we get out there and visit and know more about, the history of the places, the history of Trinidad and Tobago, that it would remove a lot of these negative thoughts that we have. We when you read the negatives and you tend to agree, well, yes, nothing is happening or no progress, etc. And that is because we really haven't been out there seeing for ourselves and knowing the true stories. So I agree. I will go beyond the museum also. Start with the museum because the history there is really great. But expand, go beyond what we know in the little area that we know of, you know, travel, know your country.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate, being Trinbagonians.
Yeah. And one of the wonderful things that's happening that's allowing us to do that now is the we talk about tourism, but tourist is not a person who is not from here. There is so much for us to learn, and now there are so many well-run professional tour companies that are taking you to every corner. And it's not whether you want to hike, you want to do sports, you want to just PTSC, the bus company, has their Know Your Country tours. The things oversubscribed. They go in Pitch Lake, they go in Icacos, they go in Arima, they go in Mount Tamana, they go in all over the place. And all these tour companies, they're taking you to see the country, meet its people, and Harry Festa is coming up. It's in I think three or four countries, including Trinidad. And there's so much we really need to claim our country, claim our independence, and go out there rather than just consuming news that comes, not news, information, no data that comes to you via somebody else's lenses. We need to go out, get a sense of the whole picture, and really appreciate our country because it is truly a beautiful, beautiful country. Yeah. And Carnival come in. And before Carnival, Christmas come in. So who getting hyper?
Around and thinking, we have so much to enjoy.
We getting into the best time of the year, September to March. So excuse me if I begin to get hyper. It's pretty time. Oh gosh. Jennifer, no, I really want to wish everyone a wonderful and happy celebratory independence. Trinidad and Tobago is a fantastic nation. We are made up of beautiful people, different people, loving people. We have our little ones who are little errant, but we'll keep them in check. But on the whole, we are simply fantastic. That's happy independence.
Celebrate life, celebrate when we can. The occasion of independence is one to celebrate. And we shouldn't allow the negativity out there, the different changes to affect how we feel about our country and the things that we can do to really, enjoy the quality of life that we have.
Definitely, definitely. So we've been in a tribe. Let's go on the other side now and think about this weekend because things happening this weekend. Jennifer, the countdown is on. So mark in case they don't know, run the ad so they'll know what's happening now.
Hi friends, Connections 50 Plus invites you to Independence in Style, a red, white and black soiree. Relax and have fun celebrating Trinidad and Tobago's independence with style and flair. It's on Sunday the 24th of August from 2 to 6 p.m. at the Young Guild, Shops of Maraval. Enjoy a curated tea box with your choice of teas and cold beverages. Be entertained with music, games, and an interactive fashion show featuring renowned stylist Richard Young. Come dress in your finest red, white, and black combo. Cost is only $3.75. Space is limited, so book early. Call Jennifer at 685-8834 or Terry-Ann at 682-9202. Let's sip, style, and celebrate our independence. See you there.
Jennifer, we ready?
Ready. And for those who then booked their space and paid up, listen, I think we only have about
just three or four spots.
Yeah. So please, you can't And of course, at this stage, with 3 or 4 spots, that is a first come, first serve. So whoever called, maybe right after the show, we would be able to tell you, yes, if you're in time or not. So it's all about excitement. It's all about looking at, it's about the decor, having everything's in place, we making sure it's red, white, and black team. We're really looking forward for you all to come and enjoy and celebrate and, just share the love.
Definitely. And remember, Sunday the 24th, we are coming out in Independence Trini style. So choose your color scheme, choose your outfit, and remember to be prepared to talk about it because we're going to have a runway. Because how could you have Richard Young hosting a session and we not zanting across the place? And don't forget our beautiful box from Simply CC.
Yeah, and we getting a chance, not just as models, but we also getting a chance to model also, and getting a lot of tips how to walk, with our fancy outfits.
Our total style from your skin to hair, how what you wear, just and how to make the best of yourself, your own beautiful self. No, I am looking forward to that. That starts off our independence celebrations. And we are expect next week's show. Hopefully, we'll have the package complete for you to share in the highlights of that Independence Soirée. So, until then, Jennifer, I think we can truly say happy independence. Next week, we have more independence for you all, the soiree just in between. Next week, Wednesday. So, take good care. Take care, everyone. Bye.
50 Plus Tribe and follow us from Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean.
Thank you for joining us on this Connections 50 Plus 5.8G Alive show.
We hope you enjoyed the lively conversation and look forward to seeing you next week.
Don't forget to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
We really love getting your feedback. Bye for now.